electric spoons, and mysterious goldfish. What a weird week.
Hi, everybody, it's Weird.
This is like crazy being here. Like
Really weird tales.
Well, I got a great show for you today with some wonderful weird stuff.
Hi, friends. I'm Scott, and this is What a Weird Week. It's a weekly catch-up on all the weird stuff that happened in the news. I think that's it. That summed it up. Let's go. This is Season 5, Episode Can't Remember, first released on June 7th, 2024.
10.
Our number 10 story this week was on a lot of newscasts about the fisher, the magnet fisher, the person who you go to a bridge, right? Magnet fishing, you have this powerful magnet on a rope or some sort of leash, maybe, and you throw that magnet in the water, and what comes up? A lot of times it's junk. In this case, it was a safe with waterlogged $100 bills, totaling an estimated $100,000. So this James fellow, reports it to the authorities. There's some sort of finders keepers situation, so James gets to keep the approximately $100,000. The plan now is take it to Washington, see how much is salvageable, and leave Washington with a whole bunch of money that you found with a magnet. This all happened in Flushing Meadows, Corona Park, Queens, New York. Do you think there'd be more money in that body of water, that particular body of water? Is it teeming with mysterious money? Is it going to be a tourist destination now for magnet fishers? These are questions that remain to be answered.
9.
Electric spoon enhances saltiness. On sale in Japan. So it's a battery-operated spoon that somehow makes food taste saltier. The theory behind it, like why we should all have one, is we will consume less salt. It is only simulated saltiness. So we'll eat less salt, but we'll still have that salty flavor that many of us crave. And for some of us, it's too much salt and it's not good for us. So electric salt spoons is the way to go. It's going to save us all, you guys. I'll put a link if you want to learn how it works, how it interacts with sodium ions on our tongue. So you can kind of do a deep dive on that if you want to. Or maybe, like me, you're just like, don't care about the science, take my money, please. Up next, we have a story of an alleged Pringles thief who may end up with a lifetime supply of Pringles. And a mysterious goldfish discovered. Those stories are next. Friends, I am Scott, and this show is What a Weird Week. We catch you up on the weird news of the week. Thank you for listening.
8.
Pringles in the news this past week. A fellow stole a lot of containers of Pringles. This is Nottinghamshire in the United Kingdom. Stole some Pringles, admitted guilt, got sentenced, and then Sky News, we got the headline, the thief told police, once you pop, you can't stop. That wasn't an official defense, I don't think. Perhaps it was presented in court, Your Honor. Once you pop, you can't stop. But that did not convince the authorities, and so this fellow, Adam, now sentenced. I don't want to make light of any of this. I hope Adam gets on the straight and narrow, pays his debt to society. But then also, I hope upon release, I hope Pringles comes a-knocking with some, an idea for an ad campaign. If you go to our podcast page and you get the podcast through Spotify, there's the survey. If you were going to go to jail for a snack food, what would your snack food be? You can find all our podcast stuff if you go shownotes.page.
7.
Mysterious goldfish. This one is a bit of a doozy, you guys. A doctor has gone viral on social media after discovering a goldfish on their lawn. I would say lawn. This is Newcastle, United Kingdom, so I think you would say garden, perhaps, in the United Kingdom. Let me know if I got that wrong. So Dr. Ben Beska has no idea where this goldfish came from, found on the grass, the lawn, the garden, however you refer to it, and that goldfish was alive. Now, if you don't have a chance to click the photo, it looks like a traditional goldfish, so saved you a click. But this goldfish was alive. Dr. Ben found it, rescued it. Was alerted to the fact something was going on by a whole bunch of birds squawking. What are they squawking at? What is that on my lawn? It's a goldfish. There's not any sneaking suspicion that this is some sort of weird hoax. Dr. Ben is a cardiologist, probably doesn't need the attention, or I don't know, surmising here now, but it appears legit. Somehow this goldfish ended up on the lawn. He puts the goldfish in some water, goes to the pet store, buys a fish tank, has saved the fish. Named it Alice, by the way. Alice the fish. So that's kind of the article from Sky. It began on social media and then got picked up by Sky, written up by Sky. And I do like the fact that in the article, they used the term bonkers, one of my favorite terms. And it really is apt in this case. What are the theories on how this goldfish got in the middle of the lawn? There's a couple of theories, that a bird, maybe somebody had a goldfish pond or something and a bird swooped in, got that goldfish, and then dropped it on Dr. Ben's lawn. That's a theory. Also, a tornado or water spout over somebody's goldfish pond. There's also a possibility that time travel is involved. I mean, now I'm just floating the ideas out there. I don't have the resources to investigate all of these. Maybe we can split up on this one. So if you guys can investigate some of those other ideas, I'll take time travel, and we'll meet back here next week and see where we're at with this mysterious goldfish. Or you guys, maybe we already met next week, because I solved the time travel thing.
Time is a flat circle. Circle.
If you want to see the fish, read the whole thing, shownotes.page is where the show notes are. Shownotes.page. Up next is basically a miracle. I don't know how else you would say it. The bullet that was stopped miraculously. You can be the judge. That story's next. You guys, this is What a Weird Week, a show where we count down the weird news of the week.
6,
Fellow in Colorado was saved after being shot because the bullet hit the chain they were wearing. They were wearing a thick chain and it stopped a .22 caliber bullet. I don't know, maybe I should have said PG-13. This was legit an attempted murder situation. And the victim got shot in the neck, but was wearing a chain, and the chain stopped the bullet. You can do a deep dive into it, the details of it, but that's the deal. They even have a photo of the chain. It's pretty messed up.
5,
Have you ever gone through that stress of ordering something and then you get a note that says your package was delivered and you don't know where it is? It wasn't delivered. You're sending me notifications that are lies. You're lying via notification. If you've ever gone through that, this lady in the news this past week, she found a package. She was doing some gardening and she found a package from 2 years before, a package she thought just never showed up. It was in her yard the whole time. 2 years later, the dress did not survive. It looks pretty rough. Apparently, it was delivered, via the old heave-ho. It was thrown over the garden wall by the courier. That is the speculation. And so now the company that delivered the dress, they have apologized. Imagine that dress was sitting there the whole time. That dress, whatever the occasion you bought the dress for, you could have been wearing that dress. It was so close to your home. But 2 years later, finally discovered. End of mystery, I guess. I like it. I always say I like a good mystery, but I like it when the mystery is solved even better. Next, we have one that got reported a lot. It's weird. It's a little bit scary at first. It involves giraffes. Everything's okay now, you guys. That one's next. This is What a Weird Week, a show about the weird news of the week.
4,
This one was on a lot of newscasts and got picked up a lot. The toddler who was lifted out of the car roof by a giraffe at a safari park in Texas. 2-year-old little girl trying to feed the giraffe through the moonroof or sunroof of the vehicle. And the giraffe latches onto the toddler's clothing and starts pulling the little girl out of the sunroof, moonroof, whatever. Most of the experts say the giraffe, it was an accident. The giraffe wasn't trying to be mean and probably wasn't going to eat the toddler, being that giraffes are vegetarians. Still scary. If you haven't seen the video, the little girl wasn't lifted very high or for very long and then landed safely back in the vehicle. Everyone's okay. That's the cover story, you guys. Let's face it. These giraffes, they're getting meaner. They are starting to organize. They're going to take over. We've talked about how the bears are organizing. They come to your front door and ring your doorbell now and wait for you to come out. Well, now it's giraffes. The animals are starting to organize, you guys. Honorable mention. We have an honorable mention this week, a world record that was in the news. A father and son team set a record for the fastest drone in the world. And I have not been keeping up on drone technology, so I was like, I saw the headline, I was like, well, a drone could do what now? 50? Oh, more? 60? 70? 90? The fastest drone in the world averages almost 300 miles per hour, you guys. So that made headlines this week. Congratulations to the father-son team. So then I was like, well, what? It must run on rocket fuel and lasers, but it's just a normal drone. I mean, what you would picture as a drone, it's a quadcopter, but it can go almost 300 miles per hour. They did encounter some problems, the father and son, as they, on the road to breaking this world record. One of the problems was the drone would catch on fire. It would overheat and catch on fire. So that's something, that's not good. That was a bit of a snag.
We had our first fire of the project. Bench testing revealed some initial challenges, including overheating batteries and motor wire issues.
If you want to see the video of the world's fastest drone, don't blink, hey? But we put a link in the show notes. You can go to shownotes.page.
3,
An extremely rare action figure sold for a lot of money, and that made news this week. A Boba Fett from Star Wars. I've never seen it yet, you guys, but it's on my list. A Boba Fett made for Kenner Toys in the 1970s, hand-painted. It was like a sample, or an example is how they put it in the article, but they made 2 of these. It never went to market. It was kind of the holy grail for Star Wars fans and toy collectors. It sold at auction for over $500,000. That's a world record. The old record in 2010, a Barbie sold for $300,000, but it had a 1-carat diamond in it. This looks like a traditional 1970s Star Wars toy. It just didn't get mass produced, 500,000 and something, and that's the new world record. Hang on, up next, a story about a museum that made headlines. It is in the news for breaking a world record. It involves dinosaurs. It's a little bit gross. All of that in one package next. Thanks for listening to the What a Weird Week show. We count down the weird news of the week, and we are at number
2,
Our number 2 story this week, the museum that opened in Arizona that has the world's largest collection of coprolite, which is, what is coprolite?
Hello, my name is George Franson, and I have the largest collection of coprolites. What is coprolite? Fossilized poop.
So that's the soundbite. The video is in the show notes. That is from the Guinness World Records, folks. Dinosaur poop and other fossilized poop made headlines this week. It's free to get into this museum. I'm sure you can make a donation. And also, they do have a gift shop with lots of dinosaur-themed items. So just to recap, it's fossilized poop, the largest collection in the world, in Arizona, the Pooseum, our number 2 story.
Fossilized poop.
Number 2 story, you guys. Hey! Honorable mention. Oftentimes we will talk about David Rush because every week he is breaking world records. He's on a journey to have the most concurrent world records, just keeps breaking records. This time around it is moving water by hand. It's just a big old tub of water. And this is one he's tried for years and years to beat. 30 seconds on the clock, big tub of water. You have to fill a pitcher using only your hands and gumption. So congratulations, David Rush, another world record. We always say how David Rush takes the opportunity as he sets these world records to shine a light on STEM education. The world record for moving the most water by hand in 30 seconds, more than 112 liquid ounces, or more than 3 liters of water in 30 seconds using only your hands. That's quite a bit of water. A lot of water. So our number one story is next. Thanks for listening to the What a Weird Week show, counting down the weird news of the week. Honorable mention. Before we get to number one, I wanted to mention a headline from Study Finds. If your livelihood or somebody you know, if you depend on people clicking things, you need people to click your links and click the things with the clicker. Well, according to Study Finds, simple news headlines draw more clicks. A nice simple headline, and that's kind of the gist of it. The research is showing that the inflammatory headlines or the complicated puns, those headlines don't get as many clicks as a nice, simple headline. You can do a deep dive on that article. We have a link in the show notes, shownotes.page. A bit surprising, that one. I always thought the angry or inflammatory headlines got more clicks, but the research is not bearing that out.
1.
Okay, our number one story of the week. It's a shout out to the team who caught the bear in Pennsylvania. Here's kind of what happened in a nutshell. There was a bear spotted in Pennsylvania, and in a place where, there are bears and there are humans. This is not going to work out. What are we going to do? Well, let's tranquilize the bear, but the bear is up in a tree. And what if we tranquilize the bear and it falls asleep and rolls over? So they had to get a bear catching team in place, holding a blanket or a tarp, and they were all in place. The bear was tranquilized. The bear did fall out of the tree and was caught by the bear catching squad, and then the bear was relocated. And that was the bear catching squad that made headlines this week. Number one. Where I live, we have black bears. Sometimes, you hear of bears somewhere near a walking park or something, and the bear has to be transported, or oftentimes it's just close the walking park, and the bear now owns the walking park until the bear decides to move on. But I never really thought about what do you do when the bear is in a tree? You need a bear catching squad. My first thought would have been helicopter, but not practical. So the bear catching squad, number one story of the week. And that is that. You can get our show notes and get all the podcast stuff for What a Weird Week if you go to shownotes.page, shownotes.page. You can get us on your smart speaker as well if you want to listen to Funhouse Radio. Every weekend we're part of the programming with our friends at Funhouse Radio. Just ask your smart speaker to play Funhouse Radio. We'll catch you next week for more weird stuff on What a Weird Week.